Hi, and welcome to Design It with Tammy Gibbs. I'm Tammy, and today we're going to be working in Artistly 5, and we're going to be taking some of those designs that you cannot get a clear background removal and turning them into some really cool products. So let's get started. We're going to go into Create Design. We're going to Fast AI Image Designer, and I have already been working with some images. We're going to be playing around with these. These were created using some image enhancement using my first playbook, the AI Artist Playbook, Mastering AI Art and Design. Art, clip art, and design. Sorry about that. My titles have gotten kind of long, but anyway, it was volume one, and so I did use it to sort of come up with what we're going to be using today. So we're looking at some images that I did just to speed things along. And now I'm going to show you some ways that you can use these images and some additional images that maybe you would not get a clean background removal, or maybe you can, but you really love the background and you love that image too. So we're going to play with it. So first off, we're going to go in and look at this image here and see about how we can use it. So I've already actually downloaded it, and I have a 5x7 um, in Canva that I'm going to be working in. I've already uploaded this design, and I am going to drag it over. Okay. So we've got this image as a 5x7. Now, there's a couple of different things you could use this for. I don't know if you wanted to create a pack of, let's just say, 5x7 or another dimension note cards that could be personalized, then this is how you could do that. Let's just say you want to do a monogram or an initial. You can go into the text, and then you can just, we're just going to say my initial is a T. So I'm just going to do a T. And then this is how you can go in and you could create um, a note card pack that could be personalized. Now, if you're going to do your own products, then you could do this as a print on demand, with the different initials, or you could print them yourself and do a clip art, a pack like that of note cards. And, you know, I have the different designs here in Artistly that I could actually go back and they are similar. I could keep creating from these, and that would make a really pretty, maybe do 10 cards in a pack or something like that. But what you can do, you could do them just as the images. And this particular one has a little space that's kind of open in the middle, so it kind of lends itself to putting an initial or something. But like if you wanted to do just a pack of the art, then you could go back and use these that are solid and not even put an initial. So those could actually just be note cards that people could just print out. So you could lay them out where they're already laid out, where people could fold, print them and then fold them. So there's lots of possibilities there with note cards with a similar design like this. But let's go back in and let's do this and play with this. So let's go into some of the initials. And of course, if you were going to do this as a template, a Canva template that people could go in and change up um, the initial or whatever, then you could change the um, font and everything. So here's my T. I could go in and I could make this, pull out that pink. I could do the effects, and I could change that offset to where it's just barely there. I could change this to perhaps a darker, sort of a darker pink in order to get it to show up well. So there's the, the T like that. Now, one thing about it is my initial is kind of, I could tilt it like that and get a little bit better design. Okay, so let's say we're going to, if I were going to do these up quickly, I would go in and um, I would duplicate this as far as the whole design. I would duplicate the page, and then I would take, and you could change, you can change the initial. You would just click in here, and then if you want to do it. Now, you could set these up if you didn't want to do it as a template, and you could just add the different initials and make multiple products that way. The only problem with that is you would have to pay the 20 cents per one of your packs or one of your listings on Etsy. So that would, if you really can't have the variations in the one listing. So if you were going to try it that way, I try to do products that I have the least amount of having to touch them. So I would probably do it as a listing for just a template and then let them go in and change the initial or do what they wanted that way. Okay, so another way we could use this design is with an overlay. So let's just say we wanted to use this for a bridal shower. This is how I would do it. I would duplicate the page again so that we can do that. I'm going to remove the initial, and then I would grab a shape. So let's do a shape like this, maybe. I don't like that one. That one has too harsh of lines. Let's just do this one. And then we can go right up here. We can do the little arch. Now, you can do the arch where it is, I would probably center it like this. And then let's go in and choose a color. I would probably go with the pink, but you could also go with white. And then we can go in and change the transparency a little bit like this. And then we can make sure this is centered by clicking the three little dots, go into align the page. That one is centered. So that's good. So now what we would do is go in and add our text. You're invited to, and then let's change the font. It's not going to be. There we go. You're invited to. We're going to center this also. Okay. Now, we're going to darken the transparency just a little bit, so more so that shows off really good. So anyway, you can play with the transparency and everything, but this is really pretty. And then we're going to, then we can just copy this, and then we can change it to Amanda or a bridal shower for, and this can be, this is 17. Let's make this around 10.9. Different designers use different rules of thumb as far as how large the type is for different things. And so you want to be concerned about the hierarchy of what you're doing. But when it comes down to it, there is no right or wrong. It's visually what people respond to. So here we can take, and we're going to do something else. We're going to make a copy of our image here. We're going to duplicate it. So we're going to make a copy. Then we're going to use the Canva background remover. And look what we got. So we actually have some flowers that now we can kind of sort of play with. So what I'm going to do is go over and remove to here. And then I'm going to place these kind of over. And then I'm going to go into the edit here, back, and play with this. So we're going to remove these and this and this, removing these flowers. And then we're going to leave the others. Okay, so we're going to erase that, and then it's going to give us our little border there. So now we have this, and we're going to make it bigger here. So we have just this little tiny little bit of overlap here. We're going to move this over, make it a little bit smaller. You're invited to. There we go. Move this back over. But that little overlay is really kind of cool. So now we're going to duplicate that. And then we're going to drag it over here, but we're going to flip it. So we're going to flip it horizontal. And then we're going to work with playing with that to get it kind of like this. Okay, so there we've got a little bit of magic, and we're going to go right there. And there we go. Okay, so now we have these little right here. These. So this one, I've decided I'm going to make this one a little scripty. You're invited to. I'm going to shift this one back up a little bit so we can get a little bit more to the center. A bridal shower 4. And then we're going to add Lacey Phillips. And then we're going to use the same script here to make that kind of lovely. And I'm using, you could change the font color, but I really like the way this looks. So, and then we're going to align it. It's in the center. This is in the center. This is in the center. There we go. But that connects it when you do your little cutouts. Now, if this was one that you couldn't get a clean cutout, you could still potentially duplicate it, use the background to create your little, and collect which images you can do it with. So you could layer. So, if it's not perfect, just pick out the parts of the florals that you can use. This is actually pretty. I'm probably going to use this one and list it because it's very pretty. Okay, so bridal shower for Lacey Phillips. And then you would just start building your June, or let's do July 25th. 2026, or let's do 25, and put that there. And we're gonna make that like that. Just play with that until you're happy. I would keep tweaking this. This is, I'm not going to sit here and do it the whole day, because I'm trying to do this quickly for you, but just to show you. And then you would put, you know, let's just put Southern Park. And whatever the address is, Pavilion. And then we're going to make Southern Park Pavilion. And we're going to make that like that. So at Southern Park Pavilion, make sure you center all your align to the center. And then we're going to put, let's see, you would put like the address here. Let's just say Savannah, Georgia. But that would be the address. So if it was going to be Bush Boulevard, let's say 92028 Bush Boulevard, Savannah, Georgia. And then we're going to make this, okay. And then up here, July 25th, we could put 2 p.m. And then you can do an RSVP. RSVP. Amanda Burns. And the phone number. Okay, so whatever your you would be using for your information. So here's how we took that background and we turned it into a really pretty bridal shower invitation. Okay, so let's get back to Artistly now and back to our designs. And so that's 2 products that we looked at. It took me a while for that one, but here are the note cards that you can put the initials on. This could also be used just as it is for a notebook cover. This is a new and popular thing. So you can take a sheet of paper, they print on it, then they take the regular spiral notebooks and you can print it out, trim it the way you want it. You can even do a little lamination on the front of it or whatever. And then you can, print it on sticker paper and then stick it onto the front of these composition notebooks. And that is a really cool, that's kind of a really cool way that you could also use it. So we're up to 3 products now that we were able to make with this background. So let's look at a different design now that I had created to give you some other ideas. So let's look at this here. So what could we really do with this? Let's take this image and we're going to download it, and we're going to download this one. And then we're going to go back into Canva, and I'm going to actually add custom size. We're going to do 8.5 by 11 inches. The really great thing about okay, resize. Let's see. I did that wrong, so typed them in wrong when I was doing 8.5. Okay, so I'm going to change this one. Okay, so now we've got this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go kind of to the middle, 5.5. This is our layout for a junk journal page. So we're going to go in and we are going to pull this one in. So let me show you how you can build. Okay, so in your elements, let's go to search for a parchment. Now I have some that I've done, in the past on Artistly, but rather than do that and take up your time, I'm just going to look for a parchment background. We're looking for only the ones that are free, just to give you an idea. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I think this one might work well, so we're going to put it in there, and then we're going to go back to our uploads to this right here, and I am going to put it on here. I'm going to flip this because I think it would be a more natural transition here. So let's do this. Let's pull this up. And we've now created a junk journal page. We can go in and we can create a, let's go to the tools, lines. Okay, let's go in and we're going to now show you how you can take another shape, and let's do this, and let's go over the top of it. And you can create your images in Artistly, but I'm just showing you how you can do this, and you can make these work. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to dial down the transparency. So we have created a little bit of a texture over the top. Send that all the way to the back. Oops, and forward. Okay, so now what we want to do is we're going to, so that kind of changed it a little bit. Now another way that you can treat this, I'm going to remove this so you can do an overlay. And you can actually take this and you can put it like over here if you want to do like a writing space on the other side. We're going to take this, we're going to work with that transparency just a little more to give it a little bit more that you can do. So this is like got that texture on it. So you could do a plain one if you wanted. This right here, we need to make this a lot narrower. Okay, and then what we're going to do is duplicate this. We're going to line it up, and then we're going to duplicate until we get our writing sheet. So here's a way that we can make this into a cool junk journal sheet. But what else can we do? So we can play with this. We've got this. Okay, we can work with this to get it centered really good. We could take, and this part right here, we could actually round the corners here. That looks good. Okay, so what else could we do? We could take this, we could duplicate it, the whole image, can duplicate it. We can try to remove that background. And again, this is where we're coming into those, this background did not remove, right? Okay. So instead, let's do this. Let's take this portion of it right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to do this. I'm going to take it in and edit it with the magic eraser. I'm going to go over this portion here, hope that it erases without making a hole. Okay, there it did it. Great. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this. And then okay, we're going to flip it over this way. And we can put this backwards. Okay, so I don't know if you kind of got the way that is working, but I just made it where the trees were a little bit more prominent. I actually like it better the original way with not as much trouble, but you can try to get little cutouts. Um, you can move and center the image where it's more in the middle of the page, or you get more of those, more of that. So it kind of just depends on where you want it. So that's another way that you can do it. Now, what else could you do to this? Okay, so we can go back into our Artistly images and let's just say we want, let's do this. No, don't want to make her public. Okay. Didn't want to make her public. Let's go back down here. Okay, so I'm going to grab this. Forward facing. Okay. Okay, we're going to go up here and I'm going to try to create a fairy. There we go. Okay, so we can take this fairy. We're going to download her. And then I'm going to take her into our upload into Canva. And I'm going to take her and remove her background. I'm going to flip her. So anyway, we've got her like this. We're going to make her go down a little bit, but then we want her to kind of match in with this. So let's go back to edit, go into some of these filters, and then let's see if we can make her blend in and match a little tiny bit. These two are pretty good with these filters that kind of make her match. Let's try this one. Now that one's pretty. What about that one? That one's pretty too. So there's several we could use to kind of get her look to be a little bit more blending in with what we have. So that's sort of another technique that you can use. That's too dark. So let's go back up to one of these. Okay. And intensity, let's dial down the intensity a little. Let's do that. Okay. So now what we can do is we can we could add other things. We could add more. We could change where she's sitting or whatever. I think this is a good placement for her. So we've added the little fairy. So there's lots of things you can do with that. So now we have, let's see, we have note card. We have an invitation. We have a scrapbook page. And now let's do one more. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Let's do 2 more items. We'll do 5. And okay, so now what we're going to do is go back into Artistly, and we are going to just pick out a design that we like. Okay, let's just do this one. Okay, so we're going to go back into our file, and we're going to go over to here. We'll just go into this one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to upload that image. And then, it has a background and everything. So you could use this. We're going to do a couple of them. But we're going to go into the elements. We're going to go into, let me go into my projects here and see if I can find the folders. And let's see. Frames. Okay, so let's do this one here. Okay, so here are some little tags. Okay, that's what we wanted. Okay, so let's ungroup these. I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to move it here. These are some I created. Some tags. Okay, so here's a little tag. Okay, so let's now go into our uploads, and then we're going to drag this image in here. And done. Let's go back and let's separate it a little bit. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do narrow it down a little bit so that when it goes in, it'll be more centered. Okay, so here we've created kind of a little number 5. There we go. And made a tag. Okay, so let's do this. Let's show you a couple of different ones. Let's go here. Let's do something else. Let's do this. Let's drag this here. So this is cool too. Let's drag this one here. And then we have a really pretty shaped tag. Let's duplicate it. And let's do another one. Let's use this and drag it in there and see how pretty that is. Okay, so let's go over here where it's a little bit bigger. And let's just copy all these. We're going to duplicate them and we're going to drag them into this space here. Okay, so this gives us some ones to play with here. I'm going to make them smaller so we can fit them on here. So let's look at all these cool shapes and how we can use these lovely designs. Well, this would be cute because you could put, let's just say you wanted to do a pack of tags, like gift tags, like for, let's work on this one. So this is going to be a little gift tag that you could put for giving gifts. So this would be a cute little pack of things that you could do the little personalization. And you could put, let's see, 2 and from Amanda Burns. Okay, we would want to change and make it not probably, and we might want it to be in this font, and you would leave a place there for filling out the person's name, but then these would be really cute. And obviously I'm doing them on the fly and very quickly, so we want to make sure that you realize that you can spend more time on this. I'm just trying to give you the high points so that you can then use them for different things. So you have different shapes that you could do things with. Here's a medallion. So let's look at what some of these things could look like as stickers. Would be another really good thing. This would be a neat sticker, but rather than being just a sticker, you could take it and put the initial in. So let's copy this one just to save time. We're going to put my initial in there, drag it down, put it in the center of the sticker. And now you've got some really cute seals for the back of envelopes or whatever. So you could even do a whole pack. You could do, here's another idea. So take this, add a page, and then let's just say, we're going to move this back out of the way, but let's just say we wanted to use this, and we could do it like this and duplicate it and come all the way down and whoops. We didn't even have to do the other. We could take our little piece here. We could put it in the middle here. And we could make a really pretty writing paper. So you could have your note cards and then you could have your writing papers, or maybe we do a square instead. Let's go back and to the shapes. And We do it like this, and we made a whole stationery set. We could even, one of the other videos I mentioned calling cards, and this would be a really good use for the backgrounds like this that you just don't want them to go away. So you could take this, and this could be, if it was going to match the other stuff, you could turn this into white, and then this would be really pretty. You could even add the initial for this whole stationery pack, which would be a cute little seller. You could paste the initial, and you could put it pretty much anywhere. You could put it to the side like this, and then they could write around it, or you could take and put it here, or you could put it up here, and then they could write their note or whatever there. So just another really cool thing to do for a whole stationery kit. Okay, so stickers. So stickers are a great way to use these images, but so let's just say we created something on Artistly, but we didn't say make it into a sticker. It was an accident. It was when we were creating something else. So how can we then take how can we then take and so let's go to frame and then sticker. Okay, we're going to go into the frames, and then we're going to look to see if there is like a sort of like a sticker outlined. Let's see. There's some, but I'm not seeing what I would want to use, I don't think. Let's see. This doesn't have the outline on it, but let's just say we want to use this one. So we're going to go over, I'm going to show you how to make those, okay? So we're going to go to the elements again. We're going to go into the shapes. We're going to find the oval, which is basically just a circle that we're going to, and we're going to okay, so we've got this shape here. Okay, we're going to take this and put it on the top of that to the front. And then we're going to make it kind of fit. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to, and I'm going to make it a color just because normally it would just be white. So I tell you what, we're going to do it that way, and then we're going to take and turn this into black so we can see it. Okay, so there we go. We have our little sticker surrounding, and we could play with it. You can make like a template, and then if you have these happen, then you can work. You can already have your little sticker frame done. So in order to do this, okay, we're going to go back to the uploads, and just to be simple, we're going to use this one and drag that image inside. What we can do now is group it, and then when we export them, or let's just say we're going to make copies of this, we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to have several of them on a sheet, and then they could be cut on a cutter or whatever. So you would just need to do that. Now, for people who have Cricuts and stuff, you don't necessarily have to have the white border, because the people that are going to cut these out are going to, they could take any shape like this. So you could basically just use the shape that you had. Then you could duplicate, and you could do like a whole sheet of them. Again, you could put initials in there. You could, you can drag and do different images in there the way you want them. Here's the 5 you could do into a sticker. Here's the fairy that you could do. You could basically do a sticker with pretty much any of those images that we were talking about. For instance, let's say like this. This would be really cool. So let's upload this one and then I'll show you how you can drag it. Okay. So then you can drag it over here and there you have that one. And if you didn't want the fairy in it, you could cut it down but there's that one. So any of those images like that, let's see, I think we've got one. Let's go back over on the card. We have the invitation. And that's my husband trying to shush the dogs. But anyway, it's okay. And so here we have the card, the invitation. We have the tags that we could create. We have the stationery that we could create. So 1, 2, 3, 4 ideas. And then we have the 5 would be the junk journal items. And 6 would be the stickers. So we've given you 6 different ways that you can use those items, and that is just a drop in the bucket. There are so many different ways you can use them. So don't fret about not being able to remove the backgrounds or removing part of the backgrounds. You can probably still use those images in different products. So if you don't have the patience to work with them right now, stick them all in a folder and then drag them out later when maybe you just feel like working with them, or you may have something else that comes up that you want to use them with. But anyway, so here are 6 new products that you can create using all of those discards that maybe were frustrating you. So don't spend all your time. If you spend an hour trying to remove the background off of one image, it doesn't result in good profits. So you don't want to spend all that extra time doing that when you can just put them aside and then use them to build other products that you don't have to remove the background from. So I hope this video has been helpful and has given you even more ideas on how you can use Artistly and the AI artist playbooks to get awesome images, create great prompts, and even profit from what are sometimes very frustrating mistakes, images that are beautiful but that you just can't make work with the background removal for your clip art or your other things. Okay, here are 7 ideas now. Tumblers. They would make great tumbler wraps. So keep all of those in a folder and repurpose them. So thank you for watching. Please check out my down in the description. I have all of my links for all of the different things, my best-selling playbooks that help you learn how to prompt like a pro and create your own unique designs. The link to Artistly, if you have not grabbed Artistly, I don't know why you haven't already invested in it. It has so many different ways now with version 5 coming out for you to benefit, and you spend that one-time charge. All the upgrades in the future are free, and you do not have monthlies, and you will make your money back if you utilize the program properly. You will make your money back very quickly. And so anyway, my link's in there in the description. Be sure and subscribe to the channel for future videos. I do them sometimes as many as 1 or 2 a day. So I'm always delivering content. Join my Facebook group, join my newsletter. Both of those are free. Lots of information on helping you to make more money with your digital product creation business. And I thank you all for watching. If you do have a code for Artistly, plug it in. I don't know when you're going to be watching this video, so it normally the codes work and I still get credit for the affiliate link. So you can use those and, get the discount as well. So if you have a code, plug it in and try it. And thanks for watching. And until next time, happy creating.